Oh, c'est pas cet écran que je voulais. Hop là. And we are live. Let's go. Welcome back, everyone. Jérémy Magan, the French football podcast, or sorry, or Ultimate Champions. I just want to talk about as much as possible on this YouTube channel. And today we are going to talk about Ultimate Champions. And I have a very special guest for me. You've probably read a lot of her messages, and she's probably helped you a lot on the Discord channel. And today you're going to hear her voice for the first time. Exclusivity of the Jeremy Magal channel. Nati, how are you?
Hi, Jeremy. I'm very good, and thank you very much for having me on your podcast.
So happy to have you here. I mean, we've kind of started playing Ultimate Champions. I want to say almost on the same day, probably a day before like game week 1 has started, and I think we both really enjoyed the game. You're obviously super involved in that. Just before we talk about Ultimate Champion and the project, do you want to tell us a little bit about you and why do you love football so much, as we all do, and why it brought you to Ultimate Champion?
Yeah, sure. So on Discord, I'm Nati, but my real name is Natalie. I'm 37 years old and I live in Switzerland. I became a football fan at a very young age. Also, I'm Swiss and Italian, so it's kind of in my blood to be a football fan. And I played myself between the ages of 12 and 20, roughly. Yeah, and my favorite teams are Inter Milan in Italy, Lausanne-Sport in Switzerland, so my hometown team. Forward Madison, who is a American third division club, so USL League One. And since recently, I'm becoming more and more a fan of the English League One. You mentioned we probably started playing UC on the same day. I joined, just between the alpha and the beta, I think. I just stumbled upon Ultimate Champions on Twitter while browsing my feed.
I think I remember. Yeah, I think I remember starting same thing, just kind of stumbled upon it, and then probably like 3 minutes before or something, I saw you kind of like saying, "Oh, hi, I'm new here," and speaking both in the on the French and on the English channel. And then since obviously we've traveled a bit, I'm going to change the way my internet work. Hopefully, it's not going to cut the feed. Anyway, we'll see. I guess tell us about what you like about Ultimate Champions, right? Why once you've joined, what made you stay there and enjoy it?
Yeah. I had just learned about the competitor Sorare, which I looked into playing because I like football cards in general, because it reminds me of the Panini stickers I used to get crazy for when I was younger. But I quickly realized that Sorare would be maybe too much for my budget. And seeing that Ultimate Champions was just done with the alpha, and I could still be an early user, I decided to dive into Ultimate Champions instead. And I really, really love the cards on Ultimate Champions. The design is really amazing. It has this like real physical object feel that you can see the how do you say this in English? Like the thickness of it makes you want to have it in your hand. The general design, I think, is more appealing to me than Sorare cards. And it's the first fantasy NFT I'm playing, but I'm following another project called Club, which I don't know if you know about it, but it's kind of a crossover between fantasy football and Football Manager. The beta is under construction there, and the closed version will be available to founder clubs at the end of June with some MLS testing. And I also intend to play the fantasy baseball NFT that is coming up on Sorare in the summer, because I'm a big baseball fan too. But it's true that my first true love in sports is football, because obviously in Europe it's the biggest sport. I mean, it's the biggest sport in the world, but it's that big in Europe too. What made me stay on Ultimate Champion is it's really also the fact that you have 11 players, just like a real tactical formation. Well, not tactical because you can't change from the 4-4-2, but you have a real football lineup compared to Sorare, where you only have 5 cards. So I like that. I like the fact, maybe I'm in the minority here, but that at the beginning it's focused on lower leagues, except the French Ligue 1, and now the Premier League with Arsenal. But I'm in the pool of people that likes lower leagues better than elite football. I've followed elite football for my whole life, and I've kind of grown tired of it. So I was happy to see that I could discover some championship teams, some League One teams. Now we even have the Romanian league, which is amazing to discover. So I think that was the design of the cards, and the lower leagues were the main things appealing to me in Ultimate Champions, and also the community that I discovered on Discord made me wanna stay.
Yeah, the community is awesome, right? I've been on Sorare for a year and a couple of months now, and yeah, I guess same as you, when Ultimate Champion started, I thought, you know what, I might be early to something awesome, so I'll just get in and I'll just have fun. And I like it's a bit more FIFA FUT with the packs, and it's a bit more fantasy with 11 players aside, which is pros and cons. And it turned out that the draft, I enjoyed the style of the draft when you first join in, and all that. So I think it's got some really good legs to stand on as well. You mentioned the community. I think the community is awesome on Discord. Of course, there are some personalities that are more known than others, but I think everybody is like generally pretty positive and involved. You have a special role in that community in Discord. Can you tell us about like how it came about?
Yeah. So as we said before, I joined just between the alpha and the beta. So when the famous OG role was about to be closed, I had read that it would receive perks, so I did my best. I admit I spammed a bit at first, but to reach the required criteria, which was to be level 7 on the Discord. But by doing so, I had genuine conversations. I spammed a bit at first in different channels, but then I just engaged with other people, and I discovered, as I said, a great community made by users from all over the world. You and I are the perfect example. You're in Australia. I'm in Switzerland. And everyone just wanted to play a fun game and improve it as well. So just bringing ideas and thinking of what could be improved and so on. And so I quickly, in fact, reached the OG role, but I kept on just talking to people, and whenever I could, I would answer new users' questions as well if I had the answers. And also, I have quite a lot of time on my hands at the moment, so I spend a lot of time on Discord. So whenever I can answer a question, I'm doing that, because that's just the way I am. I like helping people. I do that in my profession as well, and doing all this got me promoted to the role of, it's now assistant referee. It used to be linesman, but since I'm a woman, when I joined, some people asked to rename or to give me the role of lineswoman, and in fact the team just changed to a more generic term of assistant referee. This role is kind of a moderator role. I also have a privileged line, and all other assistant referees have a privileged line of communication with the UC team, to whom we report bugs and ideas. I keep helping the community by answering questions, welcoming new users, and I also moderate a bit, so I can mute or ban users that don't respect the rules that everyone needs to read, or if they go over the line. So I kind of an extension of the arm of the UC team, if you want.
You are the assistant referee, indeed. Well, that's awesome. Thanks for explaining that. I think it's also interesting to see how they see that you invest time in the Discord, and they decide to like trust you and to invest time on you as well to help them, which I think is signs of a healthy community and a healthy sort of management per se of the actual place. If we talk about
yes, sorry, just one more thing. Yeah, they listen to the community a lot. You have access to the OG channel, so you can see that a lot of OGs bring ideas, ask for things to be tweaked. We will talk about this just after, but for the Genesis packs, the limits were quite high to begin with. and following some OGs kind of protestation or contestation, the limits were brought down because the OGs wanted
more fair.
They wanted the more people possible to have access to those packs. So it shows that the team really listens to the community. Whether you're an OG, an assistant referee, or a regular user, you can always, they have IDs and feedback channels that you can use to bring up your ideas, to ask for some tweaks or some changes or some improvements. And that's a really, like you said, healthy relationship between the community and the team.
Yeah, she's definitely awesome. I'm putting up there a comment that somebody says about you, and I really agree. You're really helpful on the channel, and you're really always trying to help everybody coming in and answer the question. And I think it's also great, as you say, that on one end we have very invested players that want to make the game better, and on the other hand, no ego on the managing team, and they understand where they can do things better, and they try and fix it on the go. And we can only imagine how busy they've been since the launch of the project, with how many things to do at once, the KYC that everyone talks about. I know that for some people it kind of sounds like, oh, you're in front of your computer, you just have to pick 3 things, but they must be doing 75,000 things at once, and plus a couple of things that we're about to discuss. So if we jump on it, obviously it's been a massive week for Ultimate Champs. We are now just finishing game week 7, and we're about to go into game week. Last week, Arsenal FC was announced partnering with Ultimate Champions. Obviously caused a bit of waves and obviously brought a little bit more people to the platform. It's awesome to see a Premier League signing with a fantasy football. Liverpool back then had signed with Sorare, but then since Sorare didn't have any Premier League club, so all of a sudden Ultimate Champs kind of put their name on the map. It's also great because if you have players from Championship, when they're going to go and play in Premier League, now you can actually use them and have that extra utility. So that's all. It's all positive. And in the back of that and all that excitement, everybody who's been here for a while, you and me to start with, and all the other players, the OGs, we're expecting that Genesis drop that has happened in the past 24 hours now, which was basically a unique, special, once in a lifetime release of cards that will not lose their bonus, that are a special design, and that were released the right way, I think, and as you said, with the help of some of our friends and colleagues playing the game, to make sure that everybody could have as many as possible. How many packs did you get, Nachi, and what do you think about that Genesis release?
Yeah, so it was highly anticipated because it was one of the biggest perks of being an early adopter of the game. So it was huge that it dropped yesterday at various times. And as you said, also, I really want to emphasize this, that they are not losing their season bonus ever. That's just huge, because we know that the other cards, so start for the season, they're minted for with a 10% bonus, and then the next season 5%, and then it's 0%. So to have, especially for those who pulled young players, it's huge. Myself, I bought 4 packs. I was gonna go for 2. So I had the one dedicated to the OGs that I was sure I was be able to get. But then I also bought one in the public sale, and I bought actually 2 in the Oceanic sale, which was made more for guys like you living in Australia and New Zealand.
Me and Africa.
Yeah, exactly. But I did not resist the temptation. So I had so each pack had 3 cards, so I got 12 cards in total, and I pulled 1 unique, 2 mythics, and 9 epics.
Wow, awesome.
My unique is good for the collection score. For the gameplay, I'm not really sure because it's a young player who's on loan in Queville from Toulouse, but he's a forward and he's not playing that much or scoring that much for now. So we'll see. But at least it's good for the collection score. I'm very excited, on the other hand, about a mythic Grameni. So he's a 19-year-old Romanian midfielder playing for Farul Constanta. He seems to have very good stats. He wasn't playing at first at the beginning of the season, but as the season went on, he started playing more, and he's also played in I believe they're in the championship round, if I'm not mistaken, Farul. So it's great to have a mythic 19-year-old because, as we said, keeping the season bonus is huge. And at 19, I'm hoping that I can use him for a few years. And also the following epics, Eder Gonzalez, who plays in the Romanian league as well, Jack Taylor from Peterborough, Corey Blackett-Taylor from Charlton, and Adrian Petrie, who is a 24-year-old forward for Farul Constanta as well, so the same club as Grameni. This Romanian league is really interesting to follow, so I'm happy I pulled a mythic and an epic Genesis edition at that for these two young guys. Yeah, that's about it for my side. What did you get in your packs?
I did okay. As you mentioned, they were nice enough to release packs at a time that worked for me at 1 p.m. But I couldn't resist. I stayed awake last night until so the last pack was dropped at 1:30 a.m. for me, and I shouldn't have because it was 2 busy days at work. But you gotta do what you gotta do sometimes.
Yeah.
So I ended up with 5 packs. Because I got 1 packs at midnight, 1 at 1 a.m., 1 at 1:30 a.m. And then today I got 2 at 1 p.m. when they did the release. So I just like you, right? I couldn't resist the temptation. So we can see my cards on the screen now. I didn't get lucky enough that I scored a unique, but I scored a few interesting mythic and epic. I got a goalkeeper who's playing this weekend. I didn't have a goalkeeper until I got him, so I'm pretty happy that he came last minute. I got Hutchinson here from Sheffield Wednesday, and then the players that I'm pretty happy about. Taylor, McGinn.
Oh, you got the epic Taylor as well, yeah.
Yeah, I got the epic Taylor too. Another keeper, Pat Petrila, who scored I think 9 goals with Cluj this season, and a young midfielder at Cluj in the Romanian league is always something interesting. And then is there some missing there? 1, 2, 3. That's 12. Is there a second screen? Maybe not. So I'm pretty happy that I got all those players. And then once I had my 15 players, looking into the marketplace, I saw Motiba, who was up for I think $49 or $40 even.
That's a good price,
and Lebo Motiba. I mean, I have a French football podcast before I play any game. And Lebo Motiba, was good at Lille, was awesome at Strasbourg, then got injured, and then went to Troyes, and isn't playing as much as we would like him to play. But he's a South African international player. He's actually a very good striker. And next season, I wouldn't be surprised if he sees a bit more game time, or if he's loaned somewhere to have some game time, because now he belongs to Troyes, which is part of the City Football Group. So he's in that world where I can get me some good stuff. I didn't take the time to really look at all my players the right way, but I do know that I'm happy about Camora. Yongwa is not a bad shout. A couple of keepers always help. And yeah, like this one, maybe Sapunaru that you might see on the screen is the one that I'm like, I guess I'll have it in my collection somewhere. But he's 38 years old, so maybe I got one more season out of him, but probably not more. Let's see. Maybe there'll be utility laters for players that are retired.
Maybe,
yeah. You never know. And if it's not that, I'll just have that one player that I was able to get in my first Genesis pack. But what I did though, as soon as I saw all those Genesis packs coming out, is I started going onto the marketplace and see what was on sale. And so I was going on it just before you and me started the live, and I was talking to a friend of us, Speedy, who was like, "Oh, I didn't tell you. Like, I have a player for sale if you want to get in. And so you and me were talking offline, and I kind of looked into it, and I guess actually I'm going to get it now, and I'm going to get it live. I already have his Genesis Epic, so I thought it was cool to have the Genesis Mythic as well. And that's Oli Turton.
Yeah, very good player, yeah.
Huddersfield, who's right now about to play the second leg of the final. And when I spoke to Speedy, it was also like, oh, if you get that card, that means I can get my my Genesis OG pack. So it's also it's not free money, but I don't mind a player like this that I can see the utility. Oh, look at this, everybody's going to be able to see what money I have. How about I change that on another screen so you guys can't see how much money I spend? Huh? There you go.
Always careful with the money you spend.
I know, right? But yeah, like I think it's also that community. Like I don't necessarily do it for a favor because I'm also pretty happy about that player.
Yeah, it's great value. I think that price for Mythic Genesis is good value.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I definitely agree. There he is coming towards me. I can put the screen back on up here. And there we go. It's mine now. So Speedy, you have it. You have your funds to be able to get your Genesis OG pack, and I'm actually
Nice.
pretty happy I got Oli Turton because he's 29 years old. If things go well for him next weekend, well, he's about to play at the next level. But if it doesn't, then he'll be one of probably the best player of his competition. So it's I think it's what we're going to see. I don't know if you agree with me. With that many Genesis pack released, I think we're going to see quite a bit of movement in the marketplace in the next
for sure.
couple of weeks of players that, not everybody can be a specialist on every competition, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's going to be some Romanian players that you don't know, and you're going to see that they didn't play the last 5 games and you put them for sale. And somebody who knows about Romanian players, i.e. Big Matuzalem, will pick them up because he knows the he knows the quality that is in there, and he knows how much money he can make out of them eventually. And I think it's early days, right?
Of course, very very early days. Yeah.
What's the we're going to go into like the game that we want to talk about from this weekend, which is the League One final. But before we go into that, what are your expectations for the next 2-3 months, and what's going to happen before the next league starts for Ultimate Champion?
Yeah. So I think in general, Ultimate Champions can become really big, and I think the sign because the game is in its infancy at the moment. So to sign such a big club at the moment is quite crazy. There should be an announcement today. I don't think it has been done yet of a second sport brought to the game. There's a lot of speculation going around with basketball being the main one because a few weeks back, I think they mentioned that it's a sport that starts the season in September. Basketball would just not quite be right because I think like NBA starts in October. Other people have said they expect maybe a rugby, either league or union, to be introduced, and I think that would make sense because the UC team is both French and British, and rugby is a popular sport in both areas. So I think that makes sense. Over the next few weeks, well, let's finish the European seasons first. There are a couple of playoffs games to be played in Romania, in England. The Ligue 1 still has some matches this weekend. And then I still hope that we see a summer league, like maybe the Swedish league or something, to join the platform, because they've said that they're going to introduce virtual game weeks. I'm not too sure what to think about that at the moment. I've read about it, but I think I need to play a few times to really have an opinion about it. But I think it would be great if we had actual football to follow, and I think it might stay in Europe. So the Swedish league would make sense because it's the biggest one of the Nordic leagues that are so-called summer leagues. So yeah, that's what I see. And as you said, I think a lot of movement on the marketplace, with also the transfer window opening soon and so on.
Yeah, I agree. You know what? When you, I'm going back on the first comment that you said when you speak about basketball. I thought about basketball, but I thought about EuroLeague, not about NBA. I think the NBA is probably out of Ultimate Champions League just because they already have some partnership with NFT and Top Shot and all that. But the EuroLeague doesn't have that yet. And in my mind, I thought that the rugby, sure, maybe, but 15 players makes things a bit complicated and makes, in my mind, I was like, the amount of players you have to mint to be able to get there, whether the basketball is kind of a bit easier. You can only find 5 players, and in the EuroLeague, you only have that many teams. But like we said, speculations would bring us everywhere. What I'm talking to you, and while we look at this, and we were talking about Summer League, and we're going to get back to that. I was looking on Discord, and we have a question from Yellow, who was wondering why the collection score is so important. Besides the fact that it gives us access to more packs, because some of them are privy to the size of your collection. What do you think are going to be the advantage of that eventually?
Well, it is mentioned in the white paper that it's going to bring extra rewards in terms of staking. So people staking either the champ token or staking like holding for their collection score are going to get extra rewards on top of the regular rewards that every player will get that performs well. So this is why I think if people don't manage to sell cards that seem like duds to them, just hold them, especially if they are like even mythics, because the collection score is going to be important to get extra rewards and extra cards, and then improve your team and so on.
Yeah, and yeah, I agree with you. It's all in writing, and I think it's all important. And as you can see, I've bought a few packs and a few cards myself. So a nice score of 1900 there. It's probably the end of my of some of my investment in there, but it's a nice score. As we talk, we have Quinton who's commenting as well. I'll put the commenting on there, the comments on there. As you mentioned, the Genesis card will never be released again. So if Ultimate Champs moons, this will be massive cards in the future. And then he asks a question as well. Do you think it's best to hold all of these or make use of them by selling to get ahead in the game with numbers in your squad for future tourneys and league? What's your sentiment?
Yeah, I think specifically for the Genesis cards, I would really hold them because of the first comment of Quinton. If you see gets to like moons, as he says, to hold a Genesis edition card will be worth a lot. At the moment, we saw that you were able to buy Ollie Turton for less than $100, which is a great worth already now. But they could sell for much more in the future. And I'm also, but that's my personal opinion. I want to be able to enter various tournaments and leagues. So I think it's important to hold like under 23s or specific club, maybe have an Arsenal stack or something to be able. Unless we know more, I think it's better to hold and see than just try to get rid of cards that some people think that are useless at the moment.
Yeah, I agree. I've sold one card since I started. I've sold Branko van den Bomen because his value was just going up, and I sold him for $150.
Nice.
So I thought, I can use that for more cards, and I guess that's probably where the strategy might be, right? If you spend $100 and you've scored a really good card, on one hand, if you keep the card, the value might go crazy. But on the other hand, if you sell that card for a good amount, you might be able to buy another 3 cards, and that value might go up as well. So I guess it's, I guess, and I think we both agree there, it's kind of like to each its own. But I agree with you that as it stands, like if you can hold on to them, there's no way this is not going to get higher. So you can see on the screen right now, I have 2 Martinelli. I'm fairly comfortable that I can either play them both in tournament and league eventually, or I can sell one and keep one. To see if I can buy another player or another pack a little bit later on. All right, we've just spent half an hour talking about Genesis and packs and Ultimate Champion, etc. But one of the main reasons that I wanted to have you on the pod as well is to talk about the game happening this weekend. You mentioned that you started following a little bit more English football since you joined Ultimate Champion, and there's one of the most important game in English football coming up right now. Look at this. You have to go on SofaScore and you find the game Sunderland against Wycombe Wanderers. We'll read it together. Playoff final. How good is that for Sunderland that they're playing to get back into the championship? There's definitely a bit of investment that has been made in that team recently with the Dreyfus. And I believe that since you joined Ultimate Champion, you you looked a bit more into that team, probably more than other teams?
Yeah, exactly. I don't know why when you mentioned the drafting of your team process at the beginning when you join Ultimate Champions. I like the draft process, and I cannot explain why, but during that draft, two teams kind of caught my attention. It's Blackpool and Sunderland. So since I've started playing UC, I've been interested in those teams, but yes, Sunderland particularly. It's a huge match for them. So it's taking place tomorrow at 3 p.m. UK time, because they are really trying. I think it's the third time in 4 years that they're playing the League One final, or at least playoffs. They really need to get back to the championship, because they're a very good team. So yeah, a bit of a disclaimer. So I've only started following Sunderland since UC launched, and I've been watching their matches, but only since the win against Cambridge on the 23rd of April. So the rest that I'm going to talk about is from stats and articles I've read. So I don't know if you want me to keep going on Sunderland for this match. Yeah.
We're all ears.
Yeah. So a bit of context. So Sunderland was in a bit of a mud before Alex Neil, the current manager, was appointed. To give a bit of a stats context, so before 15 matches before he was appointed, Sunderland's record was 5 wins, 4 draws, and 6 losses, including the last 3 matches before Neil's appointment. He was appointed on the 11th of February. And since then, it's also been 5 matches, and Sunderland is undefeated. On the other hand, Wycombe lost against MK Dons in the semi-final return leg, 1-2, but they still went through, so that's all good. I want to talk about the semi-finals. So Sunderland played against Sheffield Wednesday. I was expecting much more from Sheffield Wednesday, because they finished ahead of Sunderland, albeit I think for 1 point, but in the standings. So I thought Sheffield was a bit disappointing, but in the first leg Sunderland didn't do much either, and they were playing home. They only had like 4 shots on target, 3 big chances, and 1 goal. As for the tactical formation, Alex Neil went with a defensive 3-4-1-2 formation, with Patterson in goal. The 3 at the back were Dennis Serkin, Bath, and Bradley Wright. In the middle, we had Jack Clark, Luke O'Nien, Corey Evans, and Lyndon Gooch. But then Patrick Roberts was in support of the 2 strikers that were Ross Stewart and Alex Pritchard. If we want to see a parallel with UC in terms of scores, so the best players according to SofaScores were Stewart, Wright, and Patterson, and their UC score, so without any bonus, were 232 points for Stewart, 255 for Wright, who's a defender, but they kept a clean sheet, and Patterson, who's the goalkeeper, with 163 points. So that's the semi-finals first leg, which was won 1-0 by Sunderland. The return legs playing at Sheffield, I expected all kinds of pressure from Sheffield, because they didn't really do much in the first leg, and they had to show something for their fans, but none of it happened. The beginning of the match actually looked similar to the first leg, with Sunderland controlling the play. There were lots of fouls going unpunished, which gave even more tension to the match. I thought the referee was not really good, because he waited way too long to give the first card. And I watched until the first goal by Sheffield, because then I had to wake up early the next morning. But Sheffield far from impressed me in that leg, if I have to be honest. Sunderland did well with almost the same tactical formation as the first leg. The only changes were in the middle, O'Nien and Evans were switched sides, and instead of having Roberts in support of Stewart and Pritchard, it was Pritchard being in support of Stewart and Roberts up front. So the final score was 1-1. Sunderland managed to score thanks to Roberts, assisted by Clark, in the very end of additional time. I think it was the 94th or 5th minute or something. And the best players of that leg on the Sunderland side, according to SofaScore, were Jack Clarke with the assists, Daniel Bath in defense, and Patrick Roberts with the goal. And their UC scores were a bit lower than the first leg because, of course, they conceded. But Jack Clarke had 195 points, Bath had 165, and Roberts 143. Now, to go on to the final that's taking place tomorrow, there's a lot of speculation as well about the the starting 11 on Sunderland's side. The team is healthy for the first time in the season. I think Alex Neil mentioned. Nathan Broadhead is an Everton loanee, 24 years old striker. He's back to full fitness, but I'm not sure that he's going to start. I think Neil will keep him on the bench and only sub him in if he needs a goal later in the match, because Broadhead is very explosive and very fast, so he could do well through maybe a tired back of Wickham. I would love to see my favorite player, Elliot Embleton, start, but I think since he's a more creative and offensive-minded player, I think he'll start on the bench and hopefully come on later on. Kind of like Broadhead, even though their style is different. So the latest team news is that Carl Winchester and Leon Dayaku are back in training. Winchester actually got injured in the first match I watched, Sunderland Cambridge. He injured his left groin. He's been back in training. Alex Neil hinted that he could be in the match squad, but I think it's a big ask for him. He's not played in a month to be starting for a promotion final. So I don't think he'll be starting. He might come on as well, depending on the needs and depending on how the match evolves. I don't think Dayaku will play a part because he missed an extended period of time because of an illness. So even though he's back in training, I don't think he's match fit yet. The Sunderland Echo, which is a good source of news, if any people interested in Sunderland are listening, the probable lineup according to them, and they're rarely wrong, I must say, because I've followed like their probable lineups and put it against the actual lineup. They think the starting 11 will be the same as both semifinals. Just the tactical formation might be a bit less defensive because it's only one match, so you have to score at some point. So we would have Patterson in goal. He's very young. He's 21 years old or 22. He's starting all of the matches under Alex Neil, and he's done quite well. He's kept like 7 or 8 clean sheets, including the first leg of the playoffs, the semifinals. Then in the back, we should have Lyndon Gooch as a right back, Bradley Wright and Daniel Bath as centre backs, and Dennis Serkin as a left back. In the middle, we would have Patrick Roberts on the right wing, Corey Evans and Luke O'Nien in the central midfield, and Jack Clarke on the left wing. This one is maybe a question mark. Embleton could start instead of Clarke, but in the semifinals, Clarke has shown what he can do, like bring the ball, keep the ball. It's very hard to take it from him without fouling him. And then we should see Alex Pritchard as a central attacking midfielder, and Ross Stewart as the ever striker. He scored 25 goals this season, which is huge. It's been a bit more difficult for him in the semifinals, but of course the opposition is also different from like lower ranked teams. So I think this probable lineup is kind of what's going to happen. As I said, we might see Embleton, we might see Broadhead. I doubt we see Winchester. So I think the Sunderland Echo is on the money with that one. And who could score well in terms of ultimate champions? Because since the game week hasn't started yet, maybe some people are looking to make last minute changes.
Yeah.
I think if it's a low scoring match, which could be, even though the previous 2 encounters between those teams were high scoring games, we had a 3-1 for Sunderland and 3-3, I believe. Both teams have changed a lot. At least on the Sunderland side, it's the case. They've also changed manager, as I said. So I don't think we can really expect the same type of matches. But so if it's a low-scoring game, I think Daniel Bath and Bradley Wright in defense could score well. They've been scoring well lately. You have them in your team.
Look at them. I'm going live on my team to show you guys who are lined up.
Yeah, I've put them in as well, and I think I've even captained the Bath for the moment, but that might change. I will see. The others that could score well, Corey Evans, the captain in the midfield, because you also have him in your team because he sees a lot of the ball. He makes a lot of passes. He has a clean type of game, so not a lot of fouls. So he could score well too. Roberts, if he starts, could score well too because he's a very interesting player, and I hope he can stay in Sunderland next season because I think he's on loan from Manchester City, if I am not mistaken, but he's on loan from elsewhere. And Lyndon Gooch as well. He's playing all the matches, different positions. I think Alex Neil is really relying on him to kind of be everywhere on the field. So he could score well. He does tend to get cards, so that could lower his score. But I think Bath and Wright in defense are a good bet to score good points. And yeah, Evan Gooch and Roberts possibly in the midfield. So yeah, that was about it for my preview for the final on the Sunderland side. I think you have some information for the Wickham side.
Yeah, a friend of mine is a big Wycombe fan. He has a podcast called The Hopeless Wanderer.
Cool.
From the Wycombe Wanderers.
Yeah.
And so he does podcasts about everything football, but he's basically a crazy fan from his tender youth of Wycombe, and he's pretty excited to see them finally going into a final. He thinks that there's a chance that they can win it, but he definitely has a bit of that feeling that like it's Sunderland game to lose. Really, it's great that his squad was able to make it up there, but he knows what they're good at. He knows what they're less good at, and what he expects is basically Sunderland keeping more of the ball. So I agree with you with a guy like Evans having some good score, and Wycombe's better at his words basically were that they're better at adapting to different phases of the game, and that they're good at playing direct football. And yeah, they have the agility to kind of like see what how the other team is playing, and adapting to their style, which basically, if you translate it, means when you play against Sunderland, maybe parking the bus a little bit and trying to get them into counter attack. He said something also that kind of makes sense. I feel like it's a great opportunity for Wycombe if they can make it to the Premiership, but for Sunderland, it is a bit more than an opportunity. It's an objective. They need it. There's been quite a bit of investment in the club since Dreyfus came in, and they just want to do it. It's interesting because me myself as a Marseille fan, I've spoken a lot about Sunderland the past year or so because the owner or I don't know actually what his role is right now at Sunderland, Kirill Dreyfus, is the son of the guy who owned Marseille for I think it was something like 14-15 years, maybe 20 years actually, even, and 94, 95 until 2016. So yeah, just over 20 years. It was him and his wife after he passed away. So I've looked into it and what he was doing, but there's definitely money being spent on the club, and so it'd be a great story for them to go up, but it's also why money has been invested in the club. They want to be able to go up, and they want to be able to compete in the next 2-3 years to be able to go into the EPL as well. So there's definitely probably a bit more ambition on that side that there is on the other. Without trying to like get our crystal ball out. I think Sunderland will do whatever they can to win, and I think Wycombe will try and take advantage of that and punish them in counter attack, and then we'll see. It'll be a super entertaining game. I don't know yet if I'm going to be able to watch it because I didn't find a legal way of, of streaming that final back in Australia. But people are actually trying to move stuff here because Bailey Wright is Australian. In the semi-final, he was Bailey Wright against Massimo Luongo. Luongo is a bit of a celebrity here because back when Australia wins the Asian Cup in 2015, Luongo is best player of the tournament and nominated for the Ballon d'Or at the end as well. So people in Australia are invested as well into this final this weekend, and it'll be interesting to see it. Thank you for taking the time to talk about Sunderland and covering a bit of that preview. I just want to quickly go into the game week 8, and I guess we can't really see your team, but you're welcome to tell us about it. But I also wanted to just show people the choices that I've made for this game week to kind of see what people think, because they can react on comments and they can react on Discord afterwards as well, etc.
You can share about your team and I can share about mine as well after. No problem.
Yeah, that's awesome. So people can see who we took and why we took them. So my goalkeeper Pap is the only goalkeeper that I have that's playing this weekend. So there was no questions asked about which goalkeeper I was going to take. But yeah, he's the let me just make sure that I get his profile up. Here we go. He's the goalkeeper at Botosani, and he's playing against Sepsi. Sepsi is having a great week as far as scoring goals, so I don't know if he's going to be okay against them, Pap. But whatever points he gets is better than 0.
May I make a comment real quick?
Yeah, of course.
So the thing is, Botosani will not have a game this game week actually, because so they were supposed to play. So the match was Sepsi Botosani, scheduled for the 23rd in Europe, 24th in Australia. Yeah. But Sepsi yesterday they played the Romanian Cup final and they won. So they qualified for Europe. And now instead of Sepsi playing Botosani on Monday, it will be Botosani playing Universitatea Craiova either on the 27th or the 29th to get into Europe as well. So I've asked the UC team to look into that and to update the games for the players. I don't know if they have done that yet, but you might need to change your Botosani/Sepsi players.
Which means that now I don't have a goalkeeper who plays. Thanks for the info.
That's great. I'm sorry about
for everyone. No, that's fine. It's great for everyone listening.
Right away, but it's important to share also information between UC players, because for the moment we don't play against each other. We play against the house. So I feel that everyone needs to help each other out. So that's what I'm doing.
For sure. Thanks for telling me that. I saw Sepsi playing last night. Obviously, I clearly don't know yet enough about the Romanian league to know that there was going to be repercussions to what happened during that game.
Big shout to Big again. He explained that very well in the Discord yesterday. So I'm just the messenger of his message. So shout out to Big Matusalem.
That's awesome. Yeah, he's definitely bringing a lot of knowledge. Well, then people should know that I'm not going to have a good goalkeeper for this weekend, or just a GNP on. And then the rest of the team, to put my choices very easily, I try to find players that have something to play, or if they don't have anything to play, that I feel are playing against the weakest team. So you have 4 players of Sunderland in there that we've mentioned before playing the final. Then I at first I had no one from Arsenal because I thought Everton was going to play for their survival, but now winning this morning or last night, depending where you live, Everton is safe and will play in EPL next year. Which all of a sudden I was like, well, I guess I need to put a bit more Arsenal player in there because Arsenal will probably win that game. Everton might drop it now that they're safe. So I got Gabriel Magalhaes, who's a good choice every day of the week, but I think even better if in front of them it's a team that is finally relieved that they're saved. Mohamed El Neni and Gabriel Martinelli. Then I got 2 players of Ligue 1, Florian Tardieu. Maybe the only reason it's because he's a friend of mine. We're born in the same city in Istres, and so he's played football with my cousin, and it's great to see him finally playing in Ligue 1 for his first season, finishing the season with the armband, and so it's a bit maybe a sentimental decision. But he's also had some very good games.
He's a good player. He's a good player.
Yeah, he's awesome. He's a very good playmaker, and again, a guy who hadn't played Ligue 1 until this season. So the adaptation has been awesome. And up front, Ike Ugbo, because since he joined Troyes halfway through the season on loan from Manchester City, he's scored a few goals, and they're playing against Lorient, Troyes, and both teams are safe. They're playing in Ligue 1 next year, so they don't have anything to play. But Lorient has been, to say the least, weak defensively. For the past 3 months, it looks like they're all almost giving up, and they just kind of saved themselves and did what they had to do to save themselves. So I see Troyes getting a result in Brittany, and I hope that I'm not wrong. And then the last player that I put on was Mitrea, but as you mentioned, I'm going to have to change this because Sepsi and Sani aren't playing against each other. How about we make that change together, and you can pick my left back, Nati.
Do you have alternatives? That's the question. Because I have loads of midfielders, but the other positions are a bit scarce for now.
I have a couple. Who's there? I got Costin. If the game is happening, so it's Voluntari who's playing against Arges. Arges who's at the bottom, and he's not been always a starter recently. I got Anjo Gravillon, but Reims is playing against Nice. And
I think Gravillon is injured. I read that yesterday.
Oh, is he? Well, there you go.
Yeah.
Camora, but I don't like to put a player when Cluj is playing against the FCSB.
The information about that game is that probably again coming from Big, who's Romanian and following the Romanian league, is that Cluj will play with non-starters.
Yeah.
And apparently FCSB should play with all starters because they have been promised a big I don't know, pay or something,
a bonus if they make it, right?
A bonus if they destroy Cluj, because there's a big rivalry going on between FCSB and Cluj. And since Cluj are champions on apparently, how do you say that properly? Suspicious circumstances, let's say like this. FCSB are kind of they're angry at Cluj, and the coach has said that if you destroy Cluj and win that game, you're gonna have a bonus. So Big is expecting FCSB to play with all the starters. On the other hand, Cluj should play players that don't usually play.
I'll share. I have a few articles about Romanian football. I used to write for a website called Dernier Défenseur in French, where we had specialists from all around the world covering football that wasn't France, Italy, England, Spain, and Germany, basically. And a mate of mine is a Romanian specialist, and there's a couple of articles about FCSB, more than about Cluj as far as it goes, as far as suspicious football goes, and it's quite interesting. I'll share them actually on the Discord because they'll be fun. Anyway, with all that we've just talked about, it leaves me with what we have on the screen. Basically, I think it's Issa Kabore, Nuno Tavares, Palmer Brown, or potentially Fouquet from Reims. Who would you go for?
Well, maybe Palmer Brown then.
Yeah, I'm with
you. If
Lorient
isn't going to do anything, it could be a good pick, I think.
It's Lorient. It's a scary team because they play badly offensively, and then all of a sudden Terem Mofi or Armand Loriente wake up, and then they can score 5 goals. But they've been so poor the past few games that I'll trust that. I'll trust Troyes. I like Troyes this season. I love Laurent Batles, and he couldn't stay there. And Bruno Irles is a good coach as well. So hopefully they'll do something. I'll confirm that team. Goalkeeper will be, I guess, just my only issue.
You don't have any other goalkeeper playing?
No, I don't think so. Who are the other goalkeepers that I have there? I have a few goalkeepers, but I don't think any is playing. Graham. Yeah, but he only played like the last couple of games. I don't know if he's going to be starting.
Yeah, I don't know.
I doubt that they'll put Bernd Leno instead of Ramsdale for the last game just for the fun of it.
But, I mean, you could put him in just in case he does play. Because Pap is surely not going to play.
Yeah. Grab or Leno, what do you reckon?
Oof, I know nothing about nothing about Grab. What club is it?
Arges.
Oof. Yeah.
I'll put Leno, and then after the live, I'll do a bit more research before the
Yeah.
game week start, and I'll see if maybe Graham has a chance to do something that matters. But you're right, it's better than Pap because Pap's not playing anyway. So
Yeah.
so you'll help with that. Just before we sort of wrap this up, we mentioned or look on Discord, people saying that you sound like a very nice person.
Thank you.
They they've mentioned the new sports coming. Look at us, 55 minutes, awesome. They mentioned the new sports coming, and there's been a little bit of, I don't know if criticism is the right word, right, but a bit of a maybe slow down, do the football the right way, and then go somewhere else. And then Pierre greatly answered, the priority is football, and we'll try and fix that. As far as you're concerned, what do you think are the 2-3 top priorities that Ultimate Champion should fix, or will fix rather, to try and make it super attractive for the next month or so?
Yeah, well, the top priority, I think, is the KYC process, so the know your customer process, because it will prevent multi-accounting that's been going on. We know for since the beginning of the game, and that's really damaging because if you create an account every game week, you can just stack players from a team that's playing a weaker team, and you get huge rewards. So KYC is a top priority. I think to implement the subs, that's really, really important as well, because it was advertised in the white paper, and I was sad to see it was not active yet. Especially now, maybe it's not going to be such a problem at the beginning of the season or in the middle of the season. But now that we are in the end of the season, there are there's a lot of turnover in the various squads. So having 3 additional options will be critical, I think. And also even though that's gonna only be for July, is the launch of the champ token, because then it will also allow people who maybe have made a profit and want to use that profit in real life to withdraw their profit from Ultimate Champions. Not necessarily stop playing, because one can go without the other. I mean, they're not necessarily linked. But yeah, I think those 3 are the critical things that need to be implemented. And of course, you mentioned the new sport coming. Pierre said that yes, the sport will be announced today, but is not going to be playable until another few months. And I think that's very good, because they need to get football right first. There's a lot of tweaks still to be made. We've seen some scoring issues that are in the process of being fixed. I think the game weeks at the moment are not really 100% automated, so I think they should do that as well. So yeah, get football right first before onboarding a second sport. But I think they have the few months of the down season of football to get everything right, and then start 100% football for the next season, which will start earlier than usual because of the World Cup in November, December. But then go full gas for the European season starting, and then onboard a second club. I think it's the right way to do it. But there's no problem with just announcing the new sport today, I think.
Yeah, indeed, it'll bring interest, and I agree with you. If they can get the football right when the season starts back, they'll also get a lot of people coming to check out that new platform and try to get involved. I'm sorry, Natty, that was super rude of me. We didn't go through your team of game week 8.
No problem. But yeah, I can quickly go through it.
Yeah, go ahead, and I'll try and see which players are on the marketplace to try and see them as you speak. Go ahead.
Yeah. So my goalkeeper is Anthony Patterson from Sunderland, which I drafted.
Yeah.
But he's my only playing goalkeeper this week, so I don't really have a choice. So I just hope that Wickham will not score too many goals. Then in defense, I also have Bradley Wright and Daniel Bath from Sunderland. Unfortunately, all commons for now. Then I have Salmier from Troyes as well, who just came back from injury. He played the whole match against Lens. I think he's gonna play against Lorient as well.
Oh,
I have
$30 Almier Epic. That's not expensive. Okay.
no, it's not. It's
Yeah.
a very good deal. Yeah.
Everybody can jump on
And
that.
to complete my defense, I have Ricardinho from Voluntari, if I'm not, Voluntari, who plays Argus. So I hope that they can keep a clean sheet and have a good score from him. My midfield is composed of 3 Sunderland players and 1 Arsenal player. At first, so my Arsenal player, whom I'm also putting as captain, is Granit Xhaka. So as a Swiss fan, I'm also a fan of Xhaka. I didn't put him in at first because of the doubt surrounding Everton, like you said, for your players. But since Everton is safe, I put him back in, and I hope he can have a good game and score a lot of points with the captainship. And his card is an epic one. The other 3 are epic Jack Clark, epic Luke O'Nien, and common Lyndon Gooch for Sunderland. So I really hope Sunderland has a good game because otherwise my score will not be that high. I think let me check, but yeah, game week 7 I didn't even reach the second threshold, so I would like to reach it in game week 8. So I need Sunderland to have a really good game. I think I won't make any changes. I had the Kwame from Troyes before putting Xhaka in, but I think Kwame. Now, I liked him too. So I had him at first, but now with Everton having nothing to play for, I think Xhaka can be put back in. And my strikers are at the moment, but that might change. I'm waiting for some of Big's feedback as well, because I have Romanians up front. I have 3. I have to pick 2 out of 3. I have the strikers from Farul Constanta, Petre, and Betancourt. I have Petre Genesis Epic, and Betancourt I have the Epic one that I pulled in another pack. Betancourt is back from injury, but he hasn't played. He's the second best top scorer in Romania, but he hasn't played lately because he was injured. He is supposed to be at least in the squad, so maybe he'll play. So yeah, Petre that you have on screen, I think he's a sure starter, so I'll leave him in. And yeah, Hefte Betancourt, exactly. I have his epic card as well. He's a very good a good player, but I don't know if he will play or not. And the other option is George from FCSB. I think he will play since FCSB will go with their starters, but there's always a doubt with the last game of the season. So for now, I have George and Petre. I might replace George with Betancourt. I don't know, but yeah, that's how my starting 11 is looking. So hoping for a Sunderland good game and clean sheets and some goals from my strikers.
I bet
that's a lot to ask. I know.
Well, it's what we ask every single week. Like I didn't look at the season total until like game week 4 or 5, and I thought I was like up there, and I was like, oh, okay, I guess the teams have been doing okay, even though I didn't realize that the points were good. But that's what it is, right? Every game you watch it with a different interest because obviously you feel you're pretty happy when your teams are playing all right. Yeah, if Big Mathusalem confirmed that Petre could play, $33 is also not too expensive for a striker 24. Who's only 24 years old. So yeah, and that's how much cards there is out as well right now. That's awesome. Thanks for sharing your team. And I think we're probably going to wrap up on that. Nat, I'm really thankful that you took an hour of your time, of your nice holiday time, to come on the pod and discuss all that. I hope everybody who was listening enjoyed it. I hope that we don't think that we were doing too much blah blah, but I thought that was very informative, and we covered a lot of what I wanted to cover. So thank you so much, Nat, for the time.
My pleasure.
To come on. Is there anything that you want to plug? Any special thanks or anything regarding the game?
No, I'm just really happy to be playing this game. I hope it takes off in the next few months. And just a shout out to all the the OGs really, because we have very good conversations in the channel. Special shout out to Big Matuzalam for the information on the Romanian league, because it's very, very difficult for non-Romanians to find any information. Even SofaScore just has like scarce stats. So big shout out to Big and to all the users that are trying to improve the game and help each other out.
Thank you, Nachi. Pierre just confirmed on the Discord that Sepsi Botosani is cancelled and removed from the match list, and the two other games that were questioned, Quevilly-Villefranche, the relegation match is not going to be covered, and Chindia Concordia is not covered by Opta right now. So that was officially announced by Pierre, and that finishes our stream. Thanks a lot, Nachi. Again, I'm looking forward to talking to you on the Discord, of course, and I'm looking forward to more episode next time we see you on the podcast. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Ciao, ciao.